The executive sedan segment is extremely busy. You have established players like the BMW 5 Series and the Mercedes E-Class. You do have the Audi A6 as well, but that's on its way for a refresh. However, there is one more car in the segment that nobody talks about, and I really don't know why, because I think it's one of the best offerings in the segment. Welcome everybody then to the 2025 Cadillac CT5 Sport. It's not the V, it's not the Blackwing, it's the regular run of the mill consumer friendly version of Cadillac's luxury sedan. Let's see how this competitive sedan is. So, what is the CT5? The CT5 is the biggest sedan they make. There is a CT4 which I've already driven and reviewed, the V and the Blackwing version. This is the more mundane consumer friendly version, and that's no bad thing because I think this is still one of the most gorgeous looking sedans in the market today. For 2025, Cadillac has given it a mild update or a facelift, if I can call that. So the headlights have been slightly tweaked and now they have been connected together. So you do have a long LED DRL that has a horizontal DRL as well, which I think looks very cool. And it also has an amazing welcome pattern when you unlock the car in dark conditions. These conditions won't actually highlight it. So I'll attach a clip of the DRL welcome pattern. The grille is also a traditional Cadillac grille. It has chrome around it, and I'm not a big fan of the chrome considering that there is blacked out strips on the top of the bumper. This could have been blacked out as well, and it would have given a much more sporty appeal. So that bit of chrome stands out like a sore thumb. I wish that was blacked out, since this is also the sport trim. It's not like the luxury trim. You do have blacked out underbody as well, which looks very good. And I like this paint as well. It's very subdued, very under the radar. It's not bright or anything, but yet I think in the sunlight, I think it still looks very good. You do have bulges on the bonnet as well, and overall it's a very handsome, striking looking front end of the car. When you come to the side of the CT5 is when you truly realize that this is an executive sedan. It's a very long car, and I think it looks very good. In fact, it feels like an elongated CT4, which is no bad thing because I think the CT4 is also a very handsome looking car. You do have these beautiful wheels as well, which are an option. You have a variety of options that you can tick for this car when it comes to wheels, and this car has these wheels, and I think it looks very good. This very car does have all-season tires, and I've been exploring the open side of the country, and overall it's been performing really well, much better than I thought. So the whole look is not compromised by choosing bigger wheels and all-season tires. You do have blacked out mirrors as well because this is the sport trim, and you do have blacked out side skirts as well. Not quite visible with this paint sheet, but if you chose another brighter paint sheet, the black elements would really pop. Overall, the front and side look excellent. You come to the rear of the CT5, it's as handsome looking as the side and the front, which is an awesome design element that Cadillac has integrated onto a sedan silhouette. The difference compared to the CT4 is that the number plate is on the bumper in the CT4, but on the CT5 it's on the boot tailgate, if I can say that. And I think that's a great design element. I think it looks much more complete. It doesn't look out of place. You do have a mild lip spoiler as well, and you do have some badging on the car, so you do have the Cadillac logo if it's visible through the snow. And I'm sorry, I try to keep the car clean, but every time we have to shoot, the conditions make it very challenging. You do have the CT5 badging as well. You do have another chrome strip which stands out like a sore thumb. I wish this was blacked out because it would have worked really well with the Ford diffuser look on the bottom of the bumper, which is also gloss black. You do have twin pipes as well. You do have the 350 badge, which means it's the 2-liter 4-cylinder engine. You do have a 3-liter V6 engine as well, which is available on the lower variants, and we all know the V and the Blackwing have much bigger motors. You can open the boot through the release and it pops open it, and you'll notice that the boot itself is pretty big, but it's not the best shaped. I mean, I tried to put in some luggage the other day and it didn't take as much luggage as I thought because I couldn't, package the boot inside to accommodate small suitcases. So it can take big suitcases and maybe 1 or 2 hand luggage. I wish it could take a bit more packaging. The opening is big enough, but the arches on the side really eat into the boot space. Barring that, I think it's extremely practical, and design wise, it's one of the best looking rear ends on any car on sale today. Now the inside of the CT5, and if you've been in other modern Cadillacs, you'll feel right at home, which is no bad thing. I think the interior is also very well designed and well planned. You do have this all new 30-inch screen which we've seen on other cars like the Lyric and the Escalade, which is new to the CT5 for 2025, which I think is a great addition. It really uplifts the whole ambience of the interior. Previously there was a small screen which we've seen in the CT4. Even the CT4 now for 2025 gets the new screen, which is amazing. You do have lots of leather with orange stitching, sort of faux carbon fiber on the center console, on the door trims, on the dash, which I think looks very good as well. Physical buttons for HVAC, so you do have physical buttons for temperature, audio on the center console, and a conventional gear lever, which I like a lot. You do have some buttons on the center console as well to adjust the drive modes, the auto hold. You do have storage, you do have wireless charger, and you do have a cup holder as well, which is a bit on the tiny side, but it gets the job done. You do have another storage under the center armrest, and you can always open it to access some more storage if you need to put some more stuff, which I think the whole interior is very well planned and well designed. You do have a 3-spoke steering, which is again just like every other Cadillac. However, in this particular CT5, it does feel very big, on the much larger side, and one of the bigger steerings I've used in recent times. Also, this is because it has Super Cruise, so you do have the sort of LED panel on the screen to tell you when Super Cruise is activated. But overall, it's a big steering, and one of the bigger ones I've used in a sedan ever. The speedometer console merged with this screen looks very good, and you do have a touch on the left side of the screen as well to adjust your heads up display or the trip meters and everything. And overall, it's very functional and it looks very good, which is a very rare combo, because nowadays car makers get confused sometimes between making it look good and making it work. This does it both, which I think is just fabulous by Cadillac to pull it off. You do have twin sunroofs as well, so the glass only opens on the front, not the rear, which is not a deal breaker. I think that's very cool. Overall, what can I say? The feel good factor of the interior is amazing, and it feels very worthy of the price tag. Yes, it's not as glitzy or fancy as a BMW or Mercedes, but you have to remember that this is considerably cheaper than them, but it doesn't feel cheap inside. You do have amazing seats as well, which have manual under thigh support extensions, powered and massage seats, which is an extra bonus. As I said, I can just sing praises about this interior. I think it works really well, and kudos to Cadillac for nailing it in the interior department. Now in the rear of the CT5, as you can see, space is really not an issue. I mean, it is a big car on the outside, and that does translate into decent legroom for rear passengers as well. I have a lot of knee room. Feet room is okay. I am wearing boots, so my boots aren't really tucked in under the seat. If I was wearing sneakers, maybe that would have been better. Headroom is good enough for me, but I can see taller passengers. I'm 5'8", but I would say 5'10" and above would definitely brush their head against the roof, which is not ideal. You do, as I said, you do have the double sunroof as well. This does not open, but you do have a retractable blind for this, which is nice. It lends in lots of light since this is a black interior. The windows aren't the biggest as well. They can maybe feel a bit claustrophobic to some passengers, especially the ones that have motion sickness. Bigger windows definitely help with that. You do have the faux carbon fiber, and you do have cutouts for the AKG system, which sounds brilliant, but you have the same cutouts on the front door as well, which is amazing, and I think it looks very well integrated. Same black leather with orange stitching, and overall it's not that bad of a place to be. I don't mind sitting in the back, but I do see taller passengers might be cramped inside here. You do have two AC vents, a 12-volt charger, and a Type-C port for the rear passengers. You do have a rear headrest as well, and you can open it, the center armrest, for two cup holders as well, which is very nice. The center transmission hub is very tall. I think it's one of the taller ones I've seen in recent times, so the third passenger might have to adjust the legs to fit. They can come, they are welcome, but they will have to adjust their legs. Barring that, I think it's not that bad, and it does show that this car is truly meant for the driving experience. I'm now behind the wheel of the 2025 Cadillac CT5 Sport, so let's get the numbers out of the way. This has a 2-liter turbocharged 4-cylinder engine, produces about 240 odd horsepower, has optional all-wheel drive, which this car has the famous ZF gearbox as well. So let's see how this sedan drives. Slot it into drive and set off, and you'll instantly realize that there is some turbo lag in this engine. Low end torque can be a bit difficult to work with in bumper to bumper traffic conditions. But once you're past, say, the 2000 rpm mark, there is boost that comes on very gradually, and it's a bit linear, so you won't actually realize that you're in boost, but you do have the torque. You never have to really floor the accelerator to make any sort of progress in the city. Otherwise, it's a very comfortable cruiser, and it stays very happily at all speed limits, be in city or highway. I think it drives really, really well, and the driving position is also very nice. You can adjust to go high up or low down because the seat does have a lot of adjustability. uh, as I said, even when I was talking about the interior, the steering is one of the biggest steering wheels I've seen in recent times on a sedan. So your arms are literally sticking out when you're driving. You do have aluminium finished paddle shifters as well behind, which feel very good, and the click is very tactile. But yeah, it's very comfortable, very laid back, and you do have different drive modes. So it starts by default in tour mode. I can put it into sport, and it drops a few gears and the dials change as well. But if I floor it, yeah, so it drops a gear and it keeps the power in the power band above 3000, so you're never feeling laggy. In tour mode, you can often find it just maybe in a gear or two higher than it should be. But yeah, otherwise it just feels very comfortable, very relaxed. And even though I'm driving on some very slippery, snowy conditions on all season tires, it doesn't feel out of control. And the all-wheel drive is rear biased, which I have found out involuntarily, if I can say that. But yeah, otherwise it just feels very, very nice. The chassis is very composed, and you feel a certain heft, like it feels very nicely weighed down on the road. The steering is it's big, but it has a lot of feel. I think it's actually a bit too heavy for slower speeds, but otherwise I think it is manageable. Especially when you're on the twisties, you have a lot of feedback, so you know exactly what the front wheels are doing. It's immensely fun, and the chassis is also very, very agile. So if you are one of those that love to take your sedan on some twisty B roads, this is a great tool, and it only makes me wonder what the V and the Blackwing would be like, how to drive. Also, this car has Super Cruise, which is single-handedly one of the features that would make me choose this car over any of its competitors. I think it's standard on the CT5, and I think it's a great addition. Cruising on the highway becomes immensely effortless, and the car does all the driving itself. What can I say? The dynamics are just fabulous. The brake pedal has lots of feel, so you know how much you need to press the brake pedal to stop. The gearbox responses in decently. It's not too laggy. Fuel economy on the highway, if you're cruising properly, like, in a calm manner, you can get about 7.5 liters per 100. I've been averaging about 11 combined with city and highway, which is not too bad. A bit higher, I would say, for a 2 liters 4-cylinder, but not a deal breaker. Honestly, every Cadillac that I've driven off late in the last few years has not disappointed me in the driving dynamics, and this one is no different. I think this is one of the best driving cars in its segment. In conclusion then, the 2025 Cadillac CT5 Sport. Honestly, I didn't know what to expect with this car, but now having lived with it for a week, I think it's a great underrated car. I genuinely don't know why more people don't buy this car and they end up with cars from other marquee brands. This car does it all. I think it drives amazingly well. Maybe one of the best driving cars in the segment. Oh, I also think it's one of the best looking cars in the segment as well. I think it's a very striking design and it really turns a lot of heads. The interior, it's very functional. Yes, it's not the most glamorous, but I think it's very functional and it has all the basic tech that you would need in 2025 in a luxury car. It's spacious enough for four. The boot is decently big and it's decently efficient as well if you want it to be on the highway. What else do you need from a car? Also, you know what's the bonus? The price. The base price of this CT5 Sport, which is the top variant of the CT5, barring the V and the Blackwing, is $50,000, roughly $51,000, which I think is amazing value for money. Considering car prices in the market today, $50,000 for a full-size sedan, I think that's a lot of bang for buck. This very car, however, is 66,000 roughly, give and take. This has lots of options. So you do have the wheels, which are roughly $4,200. You do have some technology packages inside, which includes the heads-up display and some more gizmos. This paint is also an option, and just adding all that up brings it to 66,000, which I still think is still very much value for money, because adding all those options makes this car a complete option, and one of the only cars in the segment, if I may say, that has autonomous driving, super cruise, and that alone for me makes this car a very amazing proposition. I mean, if I were in the market to buy a luxury sedan, this might just be it.